You're watching KING TV, Seattle.
It's been this kind of year for the Baltimore Colts. The Miami Dolphins lining it up for a field goal. Don Strock pulls it away from the foot of Garo Yepremian. He rolls right and over the heads of the blue defenders. He throws to Vern Den Herder for a touchdown. Even a defensive end scores on the Colts this year. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our NFL 78 studios. I'm Bryant Gumbel. Mike Adamle is in our highlight center. We're starting the second half of the season. It's week 9. We'll try to get you caught up. There was a slaughter in New England today at Foxborough. The Patriots just beat up all over the Jets, 55-21, 526 yards of total offense. Mike Adamle has a very, very long highlight package for us. They didn't do anything wrong today, the Patriots.
Well, they sure didn't. If you are a New York Jet fan, I suggest you leave the room right now because what you're about to see isn't very pretty. 8 touchdowns and 55 points. This was number 1. Steve Grogan firing to Harold Jackson. This made it 7-0. Grogan once again to Stanley Morgan, 14-0. Horace Ivory scores touchdown number 3, makes it 21-zip. The Jets came back and scored one of their own, 21-7. Here's touchdown number 4, Horace Ivory again, 28-7. Touchdown number 5, Grogan to Harold Jackson, 34-7. Touchdown number 6, Russ Francis, 41-7. Touchdown number 7, James McAllister. And touchdown number 8, James McAllister again. Final score, 55-21. And Walt Michaels got to go back to the drawing board.
Very monotonous report there, Mike. Washington Redskins had lost 2 in a row coming into today, so they started Billy Kilmer, beat San Francisco 38-20. Kilmer was 12 for 23, 185 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Kansas City against Pittsburgh, the Steelers were hoping for a romp. Instead, they were hanging on for dear life at the end. Won at 27-24. Mike, I guess when you have the kind of class that the Steelers do and the number of good athletes they do, even when you have an off day, you've got enough to get by.
Yeah, Kansas City played very well. They ran the wing T to perfection. It just wasn't enough. At this point in the game, the Kansas City Chiefs are trailing 20-3, and then they get the wing T in gear. Number 22, Ted McKnight, long strides it into the end zone to make it 20-10. Then Tony Reed does his touchdown thing. Watch the block of Bob Simmons, 73 here. Screens out Larry Anderson, 30. Mike Wagner gets tangled up, and so does Jack Lambert. Tony Reed reads the block extremely well, cuts back to his right. There goes Steve Furness out of bounds, and he scores to make it 20-17. Chiefs in the ball game until right here. 35, Horace Belton. The ball is stripped. Picked up by 31, Donnie Shell. He goes into the end zone to make it 27-24. First touchdown in Donnie Shell careers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers stay on top of the AFC Central 8-1. The story in Cleveland, well, Brian Sipe had been maligned as of late because of his passing, but this week he did very well. 3 touchdown passes, 2 to Reggie Rucker. Here is number 2 right here. Number 35 is going to catch this touchdown pass, and watch this reception. One-handed, Calvin Hill, 2 touchdowns of the day. 14-0, and then Mike Pruitt, a number 1 draft choice from Purdue, in 1976, goes 71 yards. Nobody's going to touch him. Big day for Cleveland Brown fans and Sam Rutigliano. They're back in the thick of the AFC Central race.
Okay, Mike, you know, it's strange to talk about Bud Wilkinson as accomplishing a first of anything this late in his career. It's been such a fabulous career, but he actually did accomplish a first today. NFL victory number 1 for Bud Wilkinson as coach of the St. Louis Cardinals. Today they beat the Philadelphia Eagles 16-10. The Cardinals are now 1-8, and the Eagles sink 1 game below the 500 level after 9 outings. Houston against Cincinnati. It's also victory number 1 for the victory-starved Bengals. They go 1-8, beating up on Houston 28-13. Earl Campbell, 19 carries for 103 yards. Another fabulous outing by a fabulous rookie, but it was the Bengals today who actually got a couple of touchdowns on the ground. Mike, what happened? Just finally putting it together?
Well, first of all, congratulations to Homer Rice. Really, the story, Bryant, was the story of Kenny Anderson and Isaac Curtis and Billy Brooks. They came back and played like they did last year. Curtis had 130 yards in receptions alone. Anderson, in the 3rd quarter, is going to hand the ball off to a rookie, Dave Turner from San Diego State, who's replacing Archie Griffin. Watch him go 65 yards before 19. There he is. Willie Alexander pulls him down and set up a 1-yard touchdown run by Pete Johnson. And here comes the last Bengal touchdown of the day. Kenny Anderson, I said he had a great day. Look at those stats. And he hits Mr. Isaac Curtis, and Mr. Curtis just turns on the jet, runs away from everybody. The first win for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's too bad they didn't start out that way in week number 1.
Okay, Mike. The Giants went down to the Superdome looking for a win, but it's tough for any team besides the Saints to win down there. The Saints put up 21 points in the second half, came on to beat the Giants 28-17. Archie Manning 13 for 21, 166 yards, 2 touchdown strikes, both to Henry Childs. Detroit against Chicago. The Bears have now lost 6 straight as the Lions win their second in a row. The final was 21-17. Walter Payton 89 yards, 18 carries, but again it was Gary Danielson having a big day for the Lions, 20 for 32. 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tampa Bay against Green Bay. The Packers pull this one out in the final moments, 9-7 at home. They go 7-2. Chester Markle, a 48-yard field goal with 41 seconds left, provided the difference. San Diego against Oakland. Remember the fumble game that Oakland won in the final moments? Well, the Raiders are making sure this time. They're out in front 20-7 at the half. Mike, how are they doing it? Has Stabler gotten over that his propensity to throw interceptions that he showed last week?
Yeah, he's playing well, and a fake field goal helped too. Both teams coming off embarrassing losses last week, and it was the Chargers that got on the board first in this contest in Oakland, Alameda County Stadium. Watch number 37, Hank Bauer, take this handoff from Dan Fouts. He barges through the middle of the line. Look at that block by Russ Washington, number 70, and he's going to drag Mr. Jack Tatum into the end zone. You don't do that very often. 7-0 in favor of the Chargers. Later on in the first quarter, 4th and 6, here's that fake field goal attempt I was telling you about. Mr. David Humm, the holder, fires to Dave Casper, keeping the drive alive, and it set up this play. 3rd and 11. Kenny Stabler back to pass. He finds Mr. Casper over the middle. He does the rest of the work. Man missed the extra point to make it 7-6. And Arthur Winnington rambles right here. 26 yards, good open field running. He's been a real find for Al Davis and Johnny Madden. In Miami, the Dolphins had to win today to keep pace with the New England Patriots, and they're doing just that. They're playing very well. Bo Camper has a block kick for a safety.
Okay, Mike, that Miami game now stands at 26-6 in the third quarter. Mike Kirkland had to start that game for the Colts. Burt Jones, of course, still suffering with that busted shoulder. And in the big one going on right now, it is a surprise. Last week, the Seahawks beat the Raiders. This week, they are beating the Denver Broncos. It stands 14-10 at the half. Zorn to Sam McCullum, 44 yards. Morton to Rick Upchurch of 29 yards. And the Seahawks trying now for a share of first in the AFC West. This 1978 National Football League game is brought to you by Schlitz. Beer makes it good, Schlitz makes it great. And by Dodge and Your Dodge dealer, who invites you to come in and see why people are saying, hey, that's my Dodge. Bryant Gumbel back one more time in New York. Quickly, let's run down the scores of week number 9 as we start the second half. New England beat up all over the Jets today. The final there, 55-21, 8 TDs for the Pats. Washington 38-20 over San Francisco as Billy Kilmer got a start. Pittsburgh just got by the Kansas City Chiefs. The final there, 27-24. Cleveland, a big outing for Brian Sipe and company, 41-20 after 2 straight losses for them. St. Louis finally gets a win on the board, 16-10 over the Eagles. That one an upset. Another first-time victory goes to Homer Rice and the Bengals. They won 28-13 today over Houston despite Earl Campbell's 100-yard-plus rushing day. New Orleans beats the Giants. The final there, 28-7 as the Saints put 21 on the board in the second half. Detroit beat Chicago 21-17, 6 straight losses for the Bears. Green Bay beat Tampa Bay 9-7. Markle a field goal with 41 seconds left. Oakland out in front of San Diego, that one 20-7. That ball game at the half. Miami 26-6 over Baltimore in the third period. And Seattle out in front 14-10 over Denver Broncos. That one at the half. We've got a second half of action coming up. We'll get to it after a commercial break.